This session serves as a summary of the other sessions and as a way of thinking about how the coaching will continue to be productive and safe. By the end of this session, you'll be able to identify the ongoing process for coaching, explain the importance of continuous development as a coach, and compare and contrast models of supervision and their value. If you're carrying out ongoing coaching with someone, you may want to consider the following. Firstly, reviewing progress since the last session. Perhaps asking the client about how things have gone since the last session and what worked well and what areas they would like to explore further. Then you might want to think about sometimes revisiting the overall objective of the coaching intervention. This is very useful, particularly when it enables the client to think about just how much they have achieved, about how much they have progressed, and about other areas that the objectives have taken them to. The next thing in ongoing coaching is about setting an outcome just for that particular coaching session. So you can use the question, what would you like to work through today? And they may have set overall goals for the sessions, but it's also important to set outcomes for each session you do with them. Another thing to consider is to have this understanding that the person will have changed since the last session. As a coach, this is important. Even if the client said at the end of the previous session that they would like to handle a particular issue, always ask them again at the beginning of the next session, what would you like to work through today? Because the client is always changing and you may discover that something else has become more important. It's useful to use information that you've discovered in previous sessions with the next session, just to help the person. This will benefit you because these are things that will have greater meaning for the client and will often span across many different contexts, and so can help you in problems in different contexts that they may have. With ongoing coaching, it's also useful to think about feedback on the timing, style, and effectiveness of the sessions. We spoke about this in the last module, but it's important to use feedback to ensure your subsequent sessions are even more effective. And lastly, with ongoing sessions, it's important to think about helping the person to learn better for themselves. This is an important consideration in coaching. The generative part of coaching is that by having a series of coaching sessions, the client begins to unconsciously or consciously identify how to learn and solve problems for themselves better. Here is an exercise to get you thinking about ongoing coaching. How will you ensure continuity in your coaching? In what way will ongoing coaching help the person to learn better? Another consideration about ongoing coaching is your ongoing professional development. Hawkins suggests that at the core of professional development is continual personal development, where our own development is weaved through every aspect of our practice. So as a coach, your own professional development is something you will want to incorporate. One way to achieve this is through supervision. Hawkins and Smith define supervision as the process by which a coach, with the help of a supervisor, can attend to understanding better both the client system and themselves as part of the client-coach system, and by so doing transform their work and develop their craft. So the purpose of supervision is to further develop you as a coach, to help you learn from each client that you coach, and so that you can bring that learning to all your coaching sessions. Supervision will also provide personal development for you. As a coach, you will want to be a role model for using coaching and to make sure that you're using coaching to enhance and grow your own life and work. If you have a lot of unresolved issues, then there is the possibility that these may be transferred to your client. Having coaching yourself helps you resolve these issues and maintain your progress. Another purpose of supervision is to ensure your well-being. Sometimes coaches can begin to get too associated with their clients' problems, and having supervision will ensure that you maintain a healthy relationship with your clients and maintain your own and your clients' safety. And lastly, supervision will improve your ability to learn too, in the same way as we were talking about its generative impact on our clients. Here is what Hawkins calls the seven-eyed coaching model to help with supervision. There is the client system, and that is to do with the content of the issues that the client is bringing, discussing what sort of issues are being raised by the clients and the impact of those. Then there is the coach's intervention, and this may lead to a discussion of the choices of interventions open to the coach and the interventions that they have used up to now. What type of interventions have they already tried with a client, and what was the results of that, and what new ones might they want to try in the future? Then there is the relationship between the client and the coach. How useful is the relationship, and what are the dynamics, and what can be done to improve them? Next, there is the coach, and what issues may be hindering the coach from delivering the client's outcomes. So in supervision, these issues can be handled and addressed so that the coach can move forward. Then there is the relationship with the supervisor and how well that is working. Is the coach getting what they want from the supervisor? Are they getting the help and support that will really move them forward? Next is the reflection and feedback from the supervisor. So sometimes the supervisor may want to give you feedback as the coach about your progress, about how you're doing, and about things that might help you. And lastly is to do with ecology. What is the impact of the coaching on the wider system? This is one model that can be used to understand the value of supervision and how it works. And here is an exercise on supervision. Firstly, write down how you can obtain supervision. Secondly, having completed a coaching session, write down areas you would like to discuss with a supervisor. And thirdly, compare and contrast the seven-eyed model with another model that you've found in literature.